Do you really need that much specificity? Why not just go and exercise and work out? I mean, we hear, like, you know, if you want to stay healthy physiologically and structurally, you need to exercise more. No, but is there ever a case, and I don't even know if this is kind of a loaded question, where exercise might not necessarily be a good thing within itself?
Yes, if we take it from the idea that every muscle has a function in the body, so no matter which direction I move, a muscle has the mechanical advantage to perform that function. So if I lose the ability for a certain muscle to function, other muscles have to jump in and do that job, and they may not have the mechanical advantage to perform that. So if I had two muscles weak here and these three were dominant, these three are going to shift the position of the joint. Now every time I move that limb, I can get irritation. So say you have a supraspinatus coming over that, and the supraspinatus continues to get impinged because you're starting with bad alignment. When you have muscle inhibition, you have bad alignment. So you wouldn't drive your car 90 miles an hour across the country with bad alignment.
Well, you could, just not recommended.
And it'd wear it down quicker. So the same thing, if you have muscle imbalances like this, which cause bad alignment, then when we exercise, we're actually taking a piece of machinery that has bad alignment, and we're adding external loads to it. So the analogy would be driving at 90 miles an hour across the country to try and fix the problem.
And that would create kind of a chronic inflammation condition in the body.
Exactly.
Well, what are the consequences of something like that?
Well, one of the keys with inflammation, and like I said, stress, trauma, and overuse lead to this inhibition and these altered communication pathways, but it's all stress, trauma, and overuse. The whole reason we have the inhibition is because it creates an inflammatory response. And from a local standpoint, that's just part of the body's signaling to say we have to repair the damaged tissue. But over time, as we get older and we get these accumulations of stress, traumas, and overuse, more and more of the muscular system starts to fail, and it becomes more systemic. And the medical world is starting to recognize now that inflammation is the #1 factor behind every disease.
Behind every disease?
From coronary heart disease to diabetes to Crohn's disease to Parkinson's, MS, inflammation is a key factor behind every one of those diseases.
So if I have improper communication between my nervous system, or my brain, for lack of a better phrase, and my body, and I take this dysfunctional machine into the gym, and I just exercise, for a blanket general term, and you know, my body's not prepared for that, and that causes me chronic inflammation. Are you saying that I can expose myself or increase my risk of developing almost any disease that we're all susceptible to? Is that what you're saying?
If you think of overtraining, and most people in the exercise industry have overtrained at one time in their life, and we know what we feel like when we overtrain. We can't sleep, we're irritable, our digestion's bad. I mean,
but other than that, we're all right.
Everything hurts. I mean, and so all of these symptoms are a result of the inflammation related to overtraining. Well, overtraining is all relative. If you take somebody with fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue, or somebody whose muscular system, the integrity of the muscle system is really low, then all of a sudden these people try and exercise, and their muscle system isn't even strong enough to get through day-to-day activities. So now they try and exercise, and they actually can put themselves in take a system that's already stressed and put them in a chronic overtraining state, and it can actually contribute to their symptoms rather than make them feel better.
Exercise is a general term within itself. It's not corrective. The solution isn't just go start exercising. There needs to be something that takes place before that.
You have to, I consider muscle activation techniques as the muscle mechanic. You take your body to the mechanic to get it balanced, to get the muscles working properly so that they can handle the physical stresses related to exercise. Because if the body can't handle the physical stresses and you take it in and exercise, you can actually be compounding knee problems, degenerative joint disease. Degenerative joint disease is the end result of bad alignment over time. And so that means the muscle system has not provided proper alignment to their support to those structures. Now you take it out and put them on a treadmill or force them to exercise, then it's like taking that irritated tissue and saying, now let's just irritate it even more.
That's fascinating, but is all of this really in the realm of the personal trainer? I mean, this sounds pretty clinical to me. Shouldn't this be in the realm of physical therapy?
Well, the key is we are the exercise specialists. I have a master's degree in exercise science, and my focus was the muscular system. So when I teach this to specialists who understand the muscular system. And if we can, as trainers, if we can understand the role of the muscular system in chronic pain and injury, let alone in the long-term disease states and this chronic inflammation issue, then we can make better choices in our exercise prescription. If I know that somebody's in a chronically inflamed state and I'm taking them through a power fit CrossFit class or something that's very high intensity, and they're complaining that their knee hurts worse, or all of a sudden they have some sort of cardio, their blood pressure goes up or cholesterol goes up. We thought, we were saying exercise is good. We're more liable when we're prescribing exercise and making people worse than if we recognize that if we can balance the body first and improve the integrity of the muscle system, basically prepare the body to be able to exercise, then our exercise prescription is going to be more effective. And I don't believe that needs to be a role. It's not a physical therapy or rehabilitative process. It's a performance process. It says, let's take the body back to square one, and we micro-progress to the point where this is where your threshold of the muscular system is now. Somebody with fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue is on this end of the continuum. A gymnast that you're seeing in the Olympics is at the other end of the continuum. We have to be able to identify where each one of our clients fit on the continuum, recognize how much force or stress their body can handle, and ideally be able to increase the ability for their muscles to be able to handle force. And that's what we do when we set up someone on an exercise program. So it fits completely in the realm of what we do as trainers.
How do you see this technology improving the industry or even transforming the industry and the role of a trainer today?
Every time I teach a class, and I can have up to 200 people in a class, I ask one question. How many people here have clients with pain? And every one of them raises their hand. Then I ask the second question is, how many of you here in this exercise industry have pain? And 90% of the people raise their hand. So that's telling me something's wrong with this industry. Pain is an epidemic in the exercise industry, but we're selling the fact that exercise makes you healthy. So in the future, if we can get the trainers to understand that everybody's body has a threshold that we need to respect, and it gives us the tools to be able to make better choices when we set up exercise programs, then hopefully someday I can walk into classes and half the class says they have clients with pain, and 1/10 of the class raise their hand when we're talking about who has pain in this industry. Because if we have pain and we represent this industry, then how do we expect our clients to respond to exercise?
Well, Greg, as always, it was a pleasure to have you, pleasure to talk to you.
Well, thank you.
Hope to see you again.
All right, thank you very much.
And thank you. Say goodbye, Greg.
Thank you very much.